Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Planning Commission meeting this Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. We have all 7 planning commissioners in attendance. And we have a few items on our agenda, starting with the consent calendar, including the minutes from May 2nd, 2017. Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you. Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sikoski and a second by Commissioner Hansen. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously, 7-0, which brings us to our public hearing section. Item number 2 on the agenda, Applecross Commercial, is slated to be continued to July 11th, 2017. Does this require a formal motion? Would anyone like to make a motion? Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you. Move to forward those or continue those that item to the July 11th, 2017 meeting.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Sikoski and a second by Commissioner Green. Any discussion to that motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, 7-0, which brings us to item number 3, Jordan Valley TOD Plat A, 8640 South, 3240 West, Second Amendment dividing Parcel D of Plat A into 3 lots and dedicating right-of-way. PC Zone, Boulder Ventures Development Incorporated, Jeffrey M. Vitek is the applicant. You're welcome to present your item this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, for having us. I'm Kirk Creek with Boulder Ventures, and joining me is Jeff Vitek, owner and CEO of Boulder Ventures.
Could you hold on just one moment, please? We're having some mic issues.
In addition to Mr. Vitek, we have the technical side of this application here, which is Scott Roque, the civil engineer of SOMAS. Before I start, I wanted to say thank you for your public service. We recognize this is an appointing commission and ultimately a volunteer base, so we do appreciate that. First and foremost, we're pleased to be presenting before you tonight as we're excited to be furthering the Jordan Valley transit-oriented development efforts in West Jordan. Tonight, we're here to provide you an overview for the Plat 2 amendment. It should be noted that this is a routine and expected amendment for the development process. There is nothing out of the ordinary that we're requesting. I recognize most of you are familiar with the TOD site. It's nestled between 8600 South and 32 West. As a reminder, I've put a slide up here of the project location. Before we dive into the Plat amendment, we thought it was prudent to give you a brief overview of the master plan and the efforts we enacted this winter. So first and foremost, we completed the Novi Apartments. This is 2 different buildings, 4 stories, a little over 260,000 leasable square feet, 270 total residences, 127 in Building 1, 143 in Building 2. The residence mixes range from studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedrooms, and the leasing agency has dubbed it upscale apartment living. And rightfully so. These units have full-size washers and dryers, stainless steel appliances, quartz countertops, personal balconies, and ceilings exceeding 9 feet. Most importantly, besides the aesthetics, currently, the 2 buildings are over 50% leased. To put that in more of layman's terms, that's roughly 30 residences a month we're leasing. Outside of the 260,000 leasable square feet, there's 30,000 feet of amenities. There's 2 clubhouse, a resort-inspired pool and spa, a multifamily theater, a demonstration kitchen, fitness facility with a pool table, a boxing ring, and a yoga studio, and then a variety of courtyards. If you'd like to learn more, please visit liveatnovi.com. So going back to the core of our presentation, we're working with staff on master plan efforts. and I'm glad Nate was able to join us tonight, as there are several exercises that we're working with the engineering department. Mr. Nelson and his team were working on enhanced soil studies. This is the applicant and the engineering's goal to ensure all parties understand the Kidnecott mine spoil effects in order that we can appropriately document it and or mitigate if needed. Secondly, Scott and his team at SOMAS are working on updating the master drainage plan. And again, this will allow West Jordan's engineering and the development team to better understand the on-site conditions and plan appropriately for future development. As developer, we continue to study and analyze the regional markets, which will enable us to adapt the product type and provide what the products are best for West Jordan and us. And then lastly, we're talking with numerous third parties, mainly senior care firms, who wish to acquire one or more sites. So outside of our development, we are looking for senior care facilities, which is close proximity to the hospital. Our goal for this summer is to do the loop road improvements, which is part of this plat. The improvement plans have been run concurrently, as well as we plan on finishing the design of what's called Building 5, which is a secondary apartment complex. And in this fall, we plan on grading Building 5, as well as hopefully getting civil improvements in for townhome projects, which we'll be looking forward to discussing with staff. So the Second Amendment, as I mentioned earlier, is regular course. There's no exceptions and there are no unusual attributes. From the eyes of a developer, this Second Amendment defines the multiple parcels, establishes the loop road limits and dedicates right-of-ways. It creates open space in the flood zone, as well as it establishes the desired path for the community. And this is by virtue of an easement dedication. Also, the plat enables us to further the improvement plans, which I mentioned are running concurrent. So if you look at this slide, a quick overview, you'll see that it points out on the parcel creation up here, the definition of the road limits, the community trail easement, and then ultimately the open space and flood zone dedication. Here is, we are running concurrent with the improvement plans, and staff has reviewed these. With the approval of the plat, we'll be able to move forward and ultimately finalize these once it's recorded. Lastly, Mr. Gardner provided a staff report to all of you, and reading the staff report, this amendment meets the intent of the general plan, plus the TOD concepts, improves traffic flow, meets the required public street criteria and safety, further stormwater management, and lastly, it meets all applicable ordinances. In summary, Larry and his team recommended approvals, noting some conditions. In summary, as the master developer of the TOD, we continue to make whole on the promises to the city and community. Novi Buildings 1 and 2 are truly cornerstone. We aren't complacent and continue to work with Nate and the engineering team to better understand how best to develop this land through soil studies and master drainage reports. The plat is typical and the key initiatives benign. It creates lots, trail easements, open space, and definition of road limits. Lastly, Jeff, Scott, and I, on behalf of Boulder Ventures, manager of the Jordan Valley TOD project, request you approve the Second Amendment of Plat A. I believe Larry may say a couple of words, but Jeff and I and Scott are here to answer any questions. So thank you, Commission.
Great, thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Mr. Gardner, you have this item? Oh, Commissioner Green, I apologize, didn't see you. Yes, could you please come back up to the lectern? Thank you. Commissioner Green.
So how does this subdivision and this plat amendment tie into the overall concept plan of the TOD under the PC zone?
Let me back up for a second. This plat defines the parcels that were established in the overall plan that we had as the TOD. So it's merely implementing what was approved previously by dividing the parcels and limiting the road with the dedications as outlined in our master improvement agreement with you all.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, I see that part of the reason that you're doing this is to try to move forward with your Building 5 plan and the townhomes. This may sound like a terrible question, but at what point in time is there going to be any of the other types of development that goes in here besides residential type living arrangements, commercial or those kind of things?
It's a great question. Jeff, would you like me to speak about Avamere and GBR, or would you like to speak about that?
If I heard your question right, what time are we going to start working on something other than multifamily?
That's a fair summary.
I want to make certain I understood your question. So if that's the question, we're working on it now. We're working on 2 commercial applications down on 90th. And we think when we're 500 or 600 dwelling units occupied, that'll be an appropriate time to add some ancillary commercial. Hence one of the reasons we want a parcel split next to Novi Building 2. But without the aggregate population, the commercial just won't survive unless it's down on a main arterial like 90th. So we are negotiating a lease now with Starbucks to go on the corner across from the hospital.
Okay.
Well, thank you. And your name again, sir, just so we can get that on the public record?
Free Vitek.
Okay, you did get that. Thank you.
Other questions?
Do we have any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
Thanks.
And Mr. Gardner, the report from the city, please.
I think the applicant did an excellent job in explaining, the nature of the subdivision the road laid out. It really does follow the concept plan. The only exception is a drainage pond, but the engineer, Thomas, is working through that to update that with and getting that approved with the engineer. This is really vital to keep this project moving forward, and the subdivision really needs to take place so the applicant can negotiate these deals with whoever wants to go in there, because if the subdivision is taken place, then they already have what you would call a lot that's ready to go and it's able for them. And I think they've, with this lot layouts scheme, that they really have, they know what the people they're talking to want. And so, and staff fully supports this and recommends that the Planning Commission approve this subdivision amendment. So.
Well, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Gardner or Mr. Nelson? Well, we'll move to the public comment section of the meeting. If anyone would like to speak on this item, he or she is welcome to come to the lectern at this time. Anyone? Anyone at all? Going once? Going twice? We'll close the public comment section and bring it back to the commission to deliberate and discuss, leading to a possible motion. Commissioner Sikoski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I remember this project. I remember kind of the unfortunate events with the parking garage and how there were promises from UTA and things like that about what it was going to look like and how that changed. I have to say I was quite nervous to see the rest of this project develop because of the way that went. But I do have to congratulate you guys. The project that's down there, I've been by it a couple times, just driving by to look at it, and it looks really nice. I like the design of the building. I think it adds a lot to West Jordan. I love traffic-oriented development or transit-oriented development. I love that we're taking advantage of that in West Jordan, and I feel like it's a really good addition to our city to add that type of development. So congratulations on the awards that you've gotten and how it's gone so far. I look forward to seeing the rest of this project develop, and I'm in favor of this.
Commissioner Green.
I should have asked you the question earlier, Mr. Gardner, that with this plat amendment, this should help move this project forward then?
Absolutely, because anything that is to take place is required to have its own lot, and it's the roads and infrastructure. And with this plat amendment, the applicant's able to construct all those things, so they have the lots ready, and it's not, sometimes a 6 or 8 month holdup with the city to get something approved. And so, yes, it's essential to keep the project moving.
My biggest concern, I'm in the same boat with you based on the parking garage. And my biggest concern, besides the issues we had with the parking garage, you obviously heard, were with some of the other commercial development and proceeding with a lot of residential with no commercial. But I will have to tell you, from my perspective, as I've seen other TODs pop up in the valley, this one seems slow. So I'm hoping that this will jumpstart the project, because as we've seen the stuff go in down by the Front Runner station in South Jordan, as we've seen what's popping up over on Sandy, this one seems slow. So if this will jumpstart it, then, and as long as we've still got the mix of commercial, I think I'm good with this.
Well, thank you. Referring to Jordan High School, is that basically where you? Commissioner Hanson.
Thank you. I know that the residents to the north of this had a lot of complaints about the garage. Has it been completely wrapped, or are they still working on that?
What'd you say? Yes, completed, according to the applicant, yes.
Okay, I know
What is completed, what they went back for the amendments, yes, they've completed that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hatch. And Commissioner Hanson, if you could please turn off your microphone. Thank you. Commissioner Hatch.
I'd like to say thank you as well. I think this is a very impressive way to build, and a transit-oriented is a great benefit to our community and to the citizens that live here. So I really like what you're doing. I like your approach. You've got all your bases covered, so I really think it's a great project.
Commissioner Sikorsky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on the information and findings set forth in the staff report, upon evidence and explanations received today, I move that the Planning Commission approve the preliminary subdivision for Jordan Valley TOD Plat A, Second Amendment, located at 8640 South, 3240 West in the planned community zone, subject to the conditions contained in the staff report.
Commissioner Quinney.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Sikorsky and a second from Commissioner Quinney. Is there any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously 7-0. Thank you for doing business in West Jordan. Best wishes to you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of our agenda. Commissioner Green,
I move we adjourn.
is there any dissension to that motion?
I think we should stay here for hours.
So, is there any serious rebuttal to the motion? Okay, we stand adjourned for 2 weeks. A reminder that in 2 weeks we have a joint meeting with the City Council, and that'll be our next meeting, 6 o'clock on the 30th, I believe, Tuesday the 30th in the community room. We are adjourned.